Good evening, Memorial second grade families. Thank you for joining us for our virtual curriculum night. I am Sue Balboni, and I'm the principal of Memorial Elementary School. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I have our second grade team here with me tonight. Before we get started, if someone could just pop into the chat letting us know that you can see and hear us, that would be super, because we can't actually tell that you can see us or hear us. And while you're doing that, I just wanted to let everyone know that we are recording this, and teachers will be sharing the recording out with you after tonight, so that anyone who was not here and couldn't see it will get all of the same information. And just a quick note that we all are working from home tonight to bring this presentation to you. So we may have little friends who join us, like my 6-year-old loves to pop into my meets. And then you may also see a few animals who join us. And that's just the way life is right now. So thank you for your patience. And we see lots of people who can see us. And Mrs. Brothers, for those of you who don't know, Mrs. Brothers, our literacy specialist. We can only have 6 people in our studio, but Mrs. Brothers is here, and she's telling you all ladies that you look amazing. So thank you, Mrs. Brothers, and we're happy to have you joining us. So if any questions come up for her, we'll be sure to tag her into those questions. So I'm going to turn it over to our team.
I guess, should we introduce our names are up there so everybody knows.
Yeah, but introduce yourself and just let people know.
I'm Mary Kenny, teach second grade, been at Memorial for almost 15 years.
I'm Lauren Desitels. I've been at Memorial, I think, for 7 years, 7 or 8, something like that.
I'm Mackenzie Sparling. I've been a para at Memorial for 2 years, and now I'm the second grade teacher.
Hi, I'm Elena Kumna. I'm new to Memorial, but not new in education, and I'm covering for Mrs. Income. So nice to see everybody.
I'm Carolyn Bell, and I'm the Learning Center teacher working with second graders this year. I've been at Memorial 12 years, and I'll be around in this presentation for the first half, and then I'll be scooting off because I split my time with third grade as well. If you have questions for me, I know I've reached out to many of the families that I work with. If you have questions for me, you can email me at cabell@natickps.org or reach out to your student's case manager.
Awesome, thank you. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. The second grade teachers have put a presentation together for you. So I'm going to go ahead and move to that. Mary, can you see that?
Yes.
Perfect. So they have introduced themselves. I'll move to the next slide.
Right. Elena, I think this was you.
Oh, is that me? Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I concentrated more on my other slides. Okay. So in the morning, students come in between 8:20 and 8:40. And usually we do some kind of morning work. Sometimes it could be like something with words. Sometimes it could be something with math. Sometimes it is something more fun. And then at about 8:40, we begin our morning meeting with both our in-person and remote students. We finish that at about 9 o'clock. At that time, we take attendance and we put in the lunch orders. And we begin writers and readers workshop. Sometimes those are reversed. For example, sometimes I may do my readers workshop first. We present a very short lesson, and then the children read for between 20 to 30 minutes. Then we go into writers workshop. Once again, we present the lesson of the day, which is like very brief, about 7 to 8 minutes. And then the children begin to write. So we write for the next, like maybe between 20 to 30 minutes. And then depending which cohort we have, we go to recess and snack. So for example, this week we have cohort B, so we go to recess at 10:45 until 11:15. Or if we have cohort A, we go to recess at 10:30 until 11 o'clock. When we get back, we do foundations and math. Depending on how the day goes, sometimes the order could be foundations first and then math, depending on what we have to cover that day. Foundations is between 15 to 20 minutes, officially 15 minutes. And then we have about an hour of math where we do a lesson, and then sometimes we have rotations, which may include games and basically small groups. We put students in small groups and we rotate like 2 or 3 times. And students love that time. We have a lot of fun games in math investigations. Right after math, we go to our second recess at about 12:15 or 12:30, depending on the cohort we have. And that's a 15 minutes quick mask break. We call it a mask break. And then when we get back, we do science or social studies. We actually start science or social studies sometimes before the last recess. And then we finish with science and social studies at the end of the day. So that's it.
I'll talk a little bit about the remote learning week. I'm sure you're all very familiar by now with Google Classroom, but all of the assignments are posted either the day that they're assigned, I suppose, or the night before, depending on your child's teacher. There are always one assignment per subject area. And one thing that we would really encourage you to do is make sure that your child is reading the directions and watching the videos. A lot of times we put time into modeling an activity or showing students kind of like if we were in the class, we would, teach them a mini lesson about the content. And right now we're pushing out videos that have that. So please make sure that you're watching the videos and not just trying to complete assignment with like a sentence or 2 of directions. So please watch the videos. Thanks. Other quick updates. Sorry, Sue, of a couple more things is this is a really good time to encourage independence with your child. We want to make sure that they have a productive workspace where they can focus, and you can be there to help them organize their materials and read directions. But it's definitely something that they should be doing the work on their own. Right now, we've been assigning practice that is a chance for them to have more exposure to the content that we've been teaching live in school. But now that we've been in school for a few weeks and students are getting more into the routine, we are going to be introducing new content during the remote weeks. So we just wanted to let you know that's coming around the bend. And it's okay if you notice that your kid isn't 100% mastered the content on the first go round. Kids usually take a lot more practice to learn a skill, so don't panic. If you see a new contact and you're like, oh my gosh, my kid can't do it at first, it's okay, we got you. Okay, Sue, next slide, thanks.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about our snack and mass break as well as recess. We have 2 snack breaks a day, and each of them are 15 minutes. All snack and mass breaks are outside, weather permitting. During not so nice weather, we do have our snack in the gym, and the students are still seated 6 feet apart. Recess is 15 minutes outside, and we have designated locations on a rotating schedule, which the locations are field 1 and 2. We also use the baseball diamond, the tennis courts, and the playground. And the classes of 2nd grade that are outside at recess at the same time don't interact. That's why we have the different locations, so they stay separate, as well as the 6 feet apart while playing.
So I'm sure you've heard your kids talk a little bit about what the classroom looks like, and it is very different because if you notice in the picture, each child has actually 2 desks that we need to hold the plexiglass. So those 2 desks are really for one student and they are spread 6 feet apart. You'll notice that sometimes when we have partner groups, in this one picture, they're on opposite sides of the plexiglass and will slide an activity paper or a recording sheet underneath and share it that way. So what we've also tried to do, Sue, if you can do the next slide, is trying to get, I don't know if you can notice, there's some dots on my carpet in my room where the kids that are sitting way in the back and they're behind plexiglass, sometimes it's hard for them to hear or for me to hear them. So if they're in the back, they can come up and sit on dots in my classroom that are spaced apart. But they've been absolutely amazing. They have gotten very good at projecting their voice and following all the protocol. So this is what a typical classroom looks like. Everyone's a little bit different in size-wise, but everybody has their desks or tables set up this way.
For our morning routine, it does look a little bit different than in years past. When they come in, we do ask that they sanitize before they get their day started. They put away their coats, backpacks, and hand in folders. They also will hand in notes or homework that they might have or the work from the previous week. We always have some sort of easel check-in or a morning message so the students can kind of get their day started and know what is expected of them. They sign up for lunch and then get started on their morning work.
So literacy is a little bit different this year. The reading program, the kids spend a lot of time in the beginning of the year getting familiar and building their stamina on reading independently. Also choosing just right books. So in the beginning of the year, the kids were coming in with books from home, which we were grateful for because our library, we have very strict rules about when the kids can even go to the library. And if they touch the book, it's their book for the week. And we have a quarantine bin at the end of the week. So it's even more important this year to choose the just right books. And so we spent a lot of time doing that. But the literacy program works with whole group lesson, a mini lesson that maybe will be 5 minutes. And then the kids go off and do their independent practice of that from that mini lesson. And then there's a time for teachers to confer with kids. And now it's pretty much one-on-one. I do have 2 kids that will sit on opposite sides of a huge plexiglass that I have, and they'll sit on the floor if they want to conference with each other or discuss a book. But this year, it's mostly one-on-one conferencing with me. And then at the end of the reading lesson, it'll be an opportunity to share something that they noticed when they were reading. What we are really striving for is for the kids to build their fluency and to be confident readers and to build comprehension strategies by being able to retell and dig deep into the characters. We will be doing work on series books so the kids can really see what how a character behaves and acts. So those are all the skills that we really dig deep into in 2nd grade. And it's not so much about, being able to read a certain level. We want them to be confident readers. And I'm sure you will know your kids want to read bigger and longer and fatter books. And the goal is really to get them confident and reading the just right books and not trying to stretch too far. We really want to also deal with their decoding, and their comprehension strategies are the most important.
I'll talk a little bit about Writer's Workshop. We use the Lucy Calkins curriculum, which is the same curriculum that we use for reading. And a nice feature about that is that they're aligned. So when we are studying characters in Reader's Workshop, we are writing small moments in Writer's Workshop. And so when we learn about character traits, students are learning to take those things that they're learning in reading and apply them to their writing. So there's a nice link there. Another thing that I wanted to kind of plug for Natick is they were able to get us these wonderful mini lesson videos that you've been seeing come home on the remote weeks. These mini lesson videos teach the content that we are also teaching in the classroom. So sometimes it's new content, or like it could be a review. And the curriculum is aligned so that way students are still covering the material that may have been skipped in the spring or may have been covered quickly. So we promised you that we would like cover everything from first grade, and like we are doing that. So in Writer's Workshop, those are the 4 genres that we cover. It's the same 4 ones that they did in first grade as well, but now at a deeper level. I'll take the next slide, Sue. So the way the Writer's Workshop is set up, it's the same structure as reading. So there's a whole group lesson, and during that whole group lesson, students might read a mentor text that is an exemplar of the genre. They might watch a mini lesson on a specific writing skill. They might engage in shared writing with their teacher or their classmates to try something out. After that short mini lesson, they'll go into independent practice and conferences. This is where students are, once again, building their writing stamina and trying out the different writing strategies that we've talked about. During that time, your child's teacher will conference with students. Sometimes those conferences will directly connect to the skill that was taught in the mini lesson, but other times your teacher will look at your child's writing and choose a teaching point based on what your child needs in that moment. One of the things that we really encourage students to do is to take a risk and try it. Writing can be really challenging and also like really personal and dear to kids' hearts, and it can be hard for them to try those new things. So one of the things that we really encourage is them to take those risks. At the end of Writer's Workshop, we always end with a share. The share can look a little bit different depending on the day. Sometimes students will partner share, as you're seeing in this photo here. Like we can utilize that plexi and have students share what they've been working on with a classmate. Other times, just one student will share on the overhead if your child's teacher notices that, you know, someone really took a risk and tried out that skill and they want to like celebrate that. Shares are important because it allows kids to feel pride in their work, and it also allows them to see quality content that's created by their peers. Thank you.
So regarding the second grade curriculum, students learn addition and subtraction. They solidify their understanding of symbols, such as plus, minus, equals, more or less. We do touch on basic geometry, especially with learning to compose and decompose shapes. Solving story problems. They learn to collect and interpret data. They learn to tell time to the nearest 5 minutes. So, the clock has 60 minutes. And so, we count 420, 425, 430, and so on and so forth. They become very comfortable in counting and combining coins to 25 cents. But of course, at this school, we don't stay there. We go beyond that, and students become expert very quickly to dealing with money up to $1 and even more. So we have high expectations of them. And finally, they are expected to understand halves and quarters in terms of fractions. You can go to the next slide. Thank you. The mathematics investigations curriculum is very big on 2 things. One is that students are encouraged to develop problem-solving strategies and to understand that there is more than one way to solve a problem. In fact, that's one thing we taught them today. We gave them a scenario and we used manipulatives to try and figure out how to solve a problem. And students are encouraged to represent their thinking when they're solving a problem. And they use models, graphs, drawings, and words. They are also expected to communicate how they solve the problem to their classmates, to the teacher, or to a group. And so these two things together, when they try to represent their thinking using models or manipulatives, drawings, and also when they try to communicate their thinking to others, these two things helps them to develop a strong mathematical reasoning for later work. The other thing that's very strong in the math investigations curriculum is place value and developing fluency with number facts. So we work very hard during this grade to really solidify their understanding of place value before the traditional regrouping algorithm is introduced. But also we expect them to be fluent with facts to 20. We assume that they have master fluency to 10, even though we know they're still working on it. But that is the goal of this year, to develop fluency within 20 and to also develop fluency within 100 using mental strategies. So these are the two things that we emphasize in the curriculum. And then there's one more slide. And I just wanted to touch upon fact fluency. Fact fluency is extremely important in this grade. Students are expected to practice independently at home, especially during this time. As you all know, we are kind of limited in the classroom in terms of spending a lot of time on fluency. We have so much to cover that we are expecting students to practice their facts at home. And one of the apps that we're currently using is Reflex. And Reflex is a very useful app because it allows us as teachers to track student growth and progress. As teachers, we can actually go in there and see the type of facts that the students have mastered, as well as the percentage of their growth. So I can go in and see, okay, I have a student who is at 50%, another one could be 60%, 80%. So I can see exactly where they are. And I can also see how much they've been practicing. I can see the exact dates, when they logged in and they practiced. So if your student has not been practicing at all this week, you might be getting an email from us, asking why that is. We do have other sources that we encourage students to work on, such as Freckles, some other free resources we post on Google Classroom. But Reflex is really one we do want them to do at least twice a week, so that we can see their progress. And it also forces them, to kind of just challenge themselves. As you all know, building automaticity helps free up brain space for higher level mathematical thinking. There's multiplication that comes up next year. So we really want them to master facts this year. That's it.
Okay, I'll talk about science super quick because I know we're running out of time. These are our 4 units. You can read them yourself on the slide. Our science units are very interactive, and the photos that you see here, unfortunately, are not going to be possible in our current model. We can't have students sharing materials or have guest speakers in. However, we are going to be using Mystery Science, which is an excellent resource that allows students to have an interactive curriculum and standards aligned experience, either remotely or in the classroom. So that's something you can be expecting coming home.
In social studies, we cover many different things. We cover continents and oceans of the world, E pluribus unum, which is ancestors, countries of the world, mountains and rivers, and hopefully we'll be able to still do junior achievement this year.
So just quickly, the technology, I'm sure you all have been aware, sometimes it's not our friend. And I have had my share of crazy things happen in community meeting. And I'm sure, and you've felt the frustration. So thank you for being patient and understanding that we're all trying to get through this together. The class link is really your friend. By now, the kids know how to get in. It has all the apps there available, although I must say there are a few that don't work perfectly with ClassLink, but you probably have endless links and passwords taped to your child's work area. But just know that Reflex and Seesaw is another program that we use a lot for the kids to share and record themselves following up in an activity. We all use Google Classroom. The new platform we're using is Zern. It's the kids have just started to do that, and it's going to allow the kids to have differentiated instruction. The teachers will be able to assign lessons and work based on your child's level.
Last few thoughts. Please label everything that comes to school, sweatshirts, lunch boxes, that kind of thing. The lunch menu is available online, and right now breakfast and lunch are free for students. So if you plan on having your child getting a lunch from school, make sure you check with them. Send your child in layers. Our windows are open, and as the weather gets colder, you're going to want to make sure that they're able to stay warm. I know you all know about Pickup Patrol, and I think everyone's been doing a really good job doing those dismissal changes. No toys in school, or like showing them in the little screen when we have community meeting, because that is a bit distracting. Make sure your kid has headphones and a water bottle. And our conferences will be coming up on November 4th and 18th. So you should be expecting a sign up coming from your child's teacher shortly. And that's it. Welcome to second grade.
So just one quick thought that I wanted to mention is that we are serving breakfast at school, and lunch is a grab and go. So basically the kids order it in the morning, we pack it up, we put it outside their classroom, it's labeled, they can take it home. Currently through the remainder of the school year, so through June of 2021, breakfast and lunch are free for all children. It's through a federal grant. So we do encourage that if your child wants to have lunch, that they bring it home with them. We want to make sure that every child is having a nutritious breakfast and a nutritious lunch. So don't hesitate to have your child order lunch. If it makes your life easier, then all is good. So I'm just looking to see if we have any questions. Miss Desitels, your weekly calendar for remote week is a lifesaver. Thank you.
Oh, I'm glad it helps. Yeah, it's something that all four of us definitely collaborate together on, and every child's teacher should have something similar. So I'm glad that helps.
Lauren, thanks for organizing this. Thank you. Shauna, thank you for working late. And Stacy, thank you. If you have any other questions, I'll just pause for 1 minute in case something comes up. But again, this recording will be shared out with you and any other family who couldn't make it tonight. I'm not seeing any more questions coming in. So nice job, ladies. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And again, don't hesitate to reach out to your teacher. You can reach out to me. You can reach out to Miss Bell. Oh, can you relate? We do have a question. Can you relate a little bit for students who are fully remote? So I guess that's probably the best question for me. In terms of remote students, they do participate in the community meeting. Our goal is to make sure that our students are connecting with the kids who are in the building, regardless of whether they're remote, whether they're hybrid, or they're in the building. And then in terms of fully remote students, they would participate in specials based on the cohort that they're in. And then the rest of the work that they do right now, as you know, is through the Remote Learning Academy under Mrs. Hoffman, who's the principal of that program. Lots of thank yous. And then you're doing an amazing job. And the videos that review how to go through the handouts are very helpful. Thank you. So nice job, everyone. Thank you again, all of you, for joining us, and have a great night. Bye.